Okay, so I know you're probably thinking, damn, you did this video like yesterday. Did you not get enough of this video? And I'll be keeping it very much a stack. I did this video yesterday because I saw things that I was like, huh, this made me think this way. And I was just really gonna voice it out there because I was like, alright, I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna hope people understand where I'm coming from, and then hope that, you know, I don't sound like a crazy dolphin. And lo and behold, I'm not a crazy dolphin. A lot of you guys in the in the comments also was like, yeah, I feel that too. I've seen that as well. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one that's noticed this sort of thing, right? Because ultimately, I think that's the one big fear of talking about that, at least on this sort of level, because it's just like, do people understand what I'm trying to say? Do they get that, you know, they see this sort of stuff that I'm seeing? Are they aware of this? And then ultimately, yeah, you do, and I'm so happy for it. This is why I love my community. Honestly, we understand shit, we get it. So what I want to do is basically not hold back anymore. I don't want to necessarily hold back on what I want to talk about when it comes down to this, because the more I thought about it and the more I sat on it yesterday, the more it kind of just irks me a lot that this is just how content creation is on a top level of things, and just in general what content creation has turned into. I'll try my best to keep it to the subjects of what we're gonna go for, but if I end up going on a tangent, I just don't be surprised. This is a rant. This is going to be ramblings of different things, a venting session of things, and all that sort of stuff. So just expect this to be just kind of all over the place, and just pick and choose what battle and what topic that we're kind of on, because there's a lot to kind of go about this and perceive about this sort of topic, right? There just genuinely is, so I apologize in advance. This will obviously go back into some of the ground that we talked about yesterday, 180 turns and whatever about certain people and individuals, but I also want to talk about it in like at least two different big perspectives that I noticed, or at least thought about when it comes down to yesterday. Number one, the lack of innovation of content, and why every piece of content that kind of comes out when it comes down to bigger content creators feel boring as I don't know what now. And then obviously the second one is like the fakeness of like how these people kind of be, how they interact and all this sort of stuff as well, right? And that's just ultimately what I want to try to do. Now, when it comes down to the levels of innovation of content and how we kind of go about that sort of thing, right? There's always something interesting that you can absolutely do when it comes down to making a video or a stream. You can absolutely stream a game, like you get out there, you go out there and basically like do an exercise stream. You could just do, you know, like a stream where you basically slap somebody in the face for 5 seconds and then run off, which granted, I feel like that's gonna be more trouble than it's worth. Like, there's plenty of ways you can go about doing content, right? The main ways that we kind of see content now is either A, somebody just straight up talking in the background while something's playing on screen. So yeah, I know, shut up, but when it comes down to it, that's just how it is. Then you have people that do gameplays and stuff like that, but then don't really do it in interesting ways. Then you have people to really talk about, you know, things that is going on as of current, right, in front of like a live stream chat, like a VOD basically, and stuff like that. Like, content creation now has been the most stagnant it has ever really been, and very few outliers be out there really changing up the game and doing something different than what is typically normally out there, right? Very few people do I see actually do something a bit different with their time of doing content when they actually get the chance to do something, right? That's why, like, in some levels I do hold up in regard certain people, because it's like, all right, at least they, even if they take a minute, at least they do something different, right? RDC is a very good example of that. Yes, they might take a good minute and they might not drop any content that you are looking for, like when it comes down to like an anime house or a video game house, but ultimately it does exist, and at least they're doing something far more different and far more better than what most people are actually doing, right? And then you can also look at this from like an otaku versus, right? Yeah, sure, they don't upload a lot as they used to, but when it comes down to it, at least they are dropping certain stuff that is pretty damn cool. When it comes down to it, they make use of the time that they aren't there to actually make something really damn cool, and that's the cool thing, right? Like, there is a lot of creators that very much take that damn approach, or at least very much still be very much in love and in tune with what they're trying to do. Like an 8-bit Ron, for example. Man's been uploading for years, right? And still dedicates himself to the craft of making whatever video he really wants to make, or what he can make when it comes down to it. Like, that's respectable. That is commendable when it comes down to it. And many other people that is like that, right? Even if it's something as simple as playing a video game, they go about it in a way where it's like, alright, it's originally them. They're still them at the end of the day, and that's just cool, right? That's just how it is. But most people that is like at the absolute top that everybody knows is not really doing anything that is like uniquely them, or doing anything that is like, I feel like is actually entertaining, or at least actually feel like it's mattering when it comes down to the content that they make. Like, I'm gonna be real, most streamers that I watch, and most streamers in general, are typically boring as I don't know what. They're pretty much boring and formulaic as I don't know what. You've seen one streamer do the sit down stream, you've basically seen everybody that streams ever. Like, genuinely, that is how it is, and it's like, it's not nearly as good as you think it is. And not everybody's in the game for entertainment, and that's perfectly fine, but still doesn't change the fact that the streams is still mad boring as hell. Like, I don't really feel like, you know, watching someone all day talk about obviously the things that's going on in the world, even if they are insightful. I don't feel like just watching them all day, because ultimately they're not really doing anything that interesting outside of just, you know, talking about the stuff that's happening, and then whenever the hell they get into some type of drama or whatever, then, you know, they'll talk about that, but that's really about it, right? Like, I'll keep it very much a stack. As much and as insightful as Asmongold is, I think he's not necessarily that entertaining. I think he's kind of boring, if I'm gonna be absolutely honest, right? I think he's insightful with his knowledge of what is going on at times, and I do listen to what he has to say. But when it comes down to actual, like, you know, fun, there's not really much to be had here. The last video I seen of his that actually was like a little bit of fun was when he was playing that Yasuke simulator, right? That shitty ass Yasuke simulator, when, you know, Assassin's Creed was like going on. That's the only time where he was having fun. And outside of that, I haven't really felt like he had a lot of fun since then, right? That's literally the only time I felt like that was something else. Anytime other than that, it has been, you know, either something with Hassan, or something other, you know, political thing that's going on, or some other drama thing that's going on when it comes down to it, that honestly at this point I don't feel like even matters at this standpoint when it comes down to it, because you can't tell what actually is real and what's actually fake as hell with half of these damn creators when it comes down to it, right? It ain't everybody, but it's a good chunk of people when it comes to it, right? And that's just how it is. And granted, again, I'm not saying he needs to be ultra entertaining or anything like that, but I am saying that, you know, you ain't gonna get the entertainment value from him or anybody that's like that when it comes down to that level, which again builds up that stagnation of just the lack of innovation and content, not just solely from him, but just in general of people that is in that sort of way. It could be just straight up Pokemon, it could be a Tectone, it could be, you know, plenty of these people that basically, you know, do the same thing kind of constantly all the damn time, and it's just being on stream, chat to chatters that they don't really care too much about, and then literally that's kind of about it, right? Or just getting angry at chatters and then thinking that's entertainment value when it's actually more infuriating than it is entertaining, right? Like, dead ass, anytime somebody use a VOD for a video and then they end up getting in arguments with the, you know, the chatters in question, whether it's because they have to repeat themselves or whether they keep misconstruing the topic, I skip through that shit on YouTube because I don't want to see that shit. I came here for the actual entertainment of the person that's interacting with whatever they're doing, not them bitching at chatter because, oh, that's I guess viewership, I suppose. Yeah, I'll skip through that any day of the week. That's just how it is for me. One thing I do will, or at least will say, I pride my channel on, and at least I try to when I can. This is why we need a damn new freaking laptop. But when it comes down to it though, you know, I try to not do the same thing constantly, right? I try to do something a bit different each and every go that I feel like it's time for something new. Yeah, rants will kind of be here, venting will kind of be here, and that's just how it is. And sometimes that's because YouTube literally benefits, or at least the channel literally benefits, because the YouTube algorithm is on the side of rants and stuff like that, which is really annoying, but it is what it is. But ultimately, you know, I will still try to do things that is maybe a bit out there, or at least talk about different things that no one else really talk about, whether it's promoting different artists that come through with the NSFW content, whether it is my own story that I like to tell on the channel, whether it is the most random ass lolly video I can possibly give you. I like to do random stuff at times, solely because one, it's fun, two, it makes the variety of the channel different than most other channels, and three, no one is out here yapping about the ways of things that I do, and so of course that's fun for me, because no one's really out here doing the same type of stuff that I'm doing, right? As much shit as I get throughout the years talking about any sort of lolly type of content whatsoever, the only reason why I continue to go for it at this point is two reasons. One, because there's something in that content that is still new that I have not learned about ever, and then I want to know what it is. I'm like, oh, okay, so that kind of existed and that also brought this out. Okay, that's cool. That's an interesting fact about anime history. But then also, I do it out of spite. I do it out of spite because it's funny. Because it's fun. Like, you think when I was making like a lot of those videos about like who's the tightest lolly and all that sort of stuff, you don't think I haven't done that shit out of fun? I did that shit out of fun. I support, you know, obviously the freedom of expression when it comes down to drawing whatever the hell you want to, and I think that's perfectly fine. But I also am doing this shit because it's fun. No other anime YouTuber is doing that shit but me, and I think that's hilarious, and I am absolutely here for it. Is it a little bit troubling when it comes down to certain people? Yeah, absolutely, but also at the same time, I'm bored half the time. There's not really much else to talk about. So if I'm gonna say, yo, we're gonna eat Kana's ass, we're gonna eat Kana's ass. That is how it is. If we're gonna put basically chocolate syrup on Erie's chest, we're all gonna have that. Like, that's just how it is for me, because I'm bored as shit. That's literally how it is sometimes, right? That just literally how it is. Outside the fact just wanting to learn about the community and learning about lolly as a whole when it comes down to the history of anime, it's just basically just, yeah, I'm bored of shit and let's just go. Let's just do something fun. Whether you like or dislike my content, the one thing you definitely be on board with altogether is that you don't know sometimes what the hell you're gonna get on this channel. It can be formulated when it comes down to these rants, but at the very same time, it's more random than a Christmas gift that you're getting on the damn day of Christmas, and ultimately it's a pair of ass cheeks that come out the box. You don't know what you're gonna get. It's just a random time. But to be honest, I've been feeling this lack of innovation of content for honestly some years now, right? Really even more so when the VTubing space started to kick in and actually started to be a thing. Like, I was already seeing the signs, right? Because obviously when you look at the VTubing space, that space is just littered with just people that just yap, that just play games and tell the most tamest jokes possible and all that sort of stuff, and mirroring obviously just regular content creation, regular streaming and stuff like that. And it's so damn boring, right? It genuinely just is. That's why, and I still will say this to the end of time, when Project Melody came out the first time and made the video talking about like the history of Gentai or whatever the first video was, that was not what we usually see VTubers do any at all. Like, I was so down for that because I was like, oh wow, we're actually getting like a new level of anime content creators. This is so dope, right? And then ultimately, what did it turn into? It just turned into a bunch of people playing games, yapping, being in drama that they have no reason or business being in, causing controversies because of course they do. And that's literally all it is. When I'm like, damn, we gotta have something special when it comes down to content creation of VTubers, right? We gotta literally have them yapping about things, being analytical about certain elements of, you know, entertainment and stuff like that. I've been super down for that timeline instead of the more boring play games, stream things, and that's kind of about it sort of timeline that we kind of exist in. Again, it kind of always leans into that sort of tangent. Like, yeah, sure, I want to do that too when we get the chance and the ability and the money to be able to do something like that, to set up a stream to do something like that. But ultimately, is that all I want to do with content? Is that all I want to do when it comes down to it? Just stream with the audience and then play a game and then yap about things that honestly don't really matter too damn much? Not necessarily. Again, on this channel, like I said before, I want you to basically be having fun, but I also want you to think for 5 seconds. I want you to think about the things that is going down when it comes down to it. And that's something that a lot of people just do not necessarily do, or at least they sometimes do, but then not really deliver in the way I would like to see people kind of deliver it out. But yeah, I think the lack of innovation in content creation is very much a giant thing that's been going on for years now, and it's very much just, not been a great space. But let's talk about the second thing that really has been bothering me a lot, which is obviously how it feels like every single big content creator feels fake as shit. Like how every single one of them don't really feel like a real person at times, right? Because that's just what it feels like, right? Especially when you look at just drama and how many times they get involved in certain things and stuff like that, and then how certain things kind of lines up. It just feels like there's either A, just really nothing that's going on with these creators' lives, or B, they're in some weird ass, maybe internet Illuminati sort of circle or some shit that feels a little too carefully planned out for some reason, right? Again, I could be talk about some nonsense. This could be just absolute horse water, like literally could be. But you can't tell me that some things just don't feel like it just don't add up, because it kind of does, right? Like, let's just be honest, there's been plenty of drama, plenty of controversies, plenty of different things that ends up going on when it comes down to the online space. And then I feel like at times when things get a little too crazy and a little too haywire, somebody somewhere or something will end up interjecting with another piece of drama or something that just feels like, alright, why did everybody start talking about the other thing when that was pretty damn bad? But then now we talk about this thing and nobody cares about the other thing. It's weird. Granted, people are very weird creatures, obviously. They very much don't pay attention to multiple things at a time. Like, we was talking about the files of the Island Man at one point in time, and now we're just talking about anything else but that. But, like, that's still also kind of mad important. And in the moment you bring it back up into conversations with people, for some reason, they just like to joke and jab at you for some reason. It's like, wait, what, huh, what? I don't understand. Like, you think I'm joking, but like, it kind of feels that sort of way, right? Like, let's look at the Amaru situation that's currently going on with her calling out Mizkif, right? Like, you can't tell me that you could make me think of a theory where it's like, alright, we were talking about Hassan electrocuting his damn dog or some shit, right? Like, was this situation brought up to kind of like take heat off of him, maybe? Is that somewhat of a thing? Is somebody just planning some bullshit just because, right? Like, it just somewhat sometimes feels like that. And the only reason why I find this annoying, because Hollywood is like that. Hollywood is like that, very much so. I was very much skeptical when content creators started really allowing, certain individuals from Hollywood to kind of join in these spaces of what they're trying to join in on. And I'm just like, this was never what content creation was. This was never what, the anime space was and things like that. And it's like, why did it get like this, right? Because ultimately, now it's just starting to feel like we have this echelon of internet celebrities that cannot be touched at this point, or cannot be having anything wrong going on with them at some point in time. And it's like, this don't feel right. This shit doesn't feel like what this shit should have been, right? And it's like, the more we look at the space and how it kind of goes, the more fake people become, and the more business-like, I would say, things are kind of starting to be when it comes down to, pursuing this content creation dream and stuff like that, or the streamer dream or whatever. And it's just like, oh, this is not great. And this is kind of where it also kind of bites you in a bit of the ass when it comes down to it, right? Because ultimately, the way I view content creation is just that this shit could very much be something that can work. It can be very much something that don't work, right? And that's just ultimately how it is, right? I know people that is at the top already don't view it that way. They already made it. They're not necessarily worried about that anymore. But ultimately, for someone like me, for someone that's on my level and stuff like that, we all kind of, maybe in some shape or form, view it in that sort of way, right? And there's also a line I feel like you have to really think about that you might want to cross, or maybe don't want to cross. Like, how much of YouTube or streaming is fun for you? How much of this shit is a business? Like, where are you going with this? Because ultimately, I feel like if you take, at least from me personally, if you make content creation a work job or a business and you treat it as such, you lost the plot. You lost the plot of what makes content creation and streaming and stuff like this so damn good is that you can express yourself in whatever way possible that you honestly are allowed to on these platforms. And it's great. It has been a great mental health boost for me personally, because I've been able to say things that I've been wanting to say for a long ass period of time where I can't really do so normally, right? There's been plenty of beautiful things when it comes down to just having fun with this channel. Yes, there's a lot of things that obviously, could make a PR team that, make them look like they gotta jump off a damn cliff with how much crazy shit I've said, but still nonetheless, it is fun. And at the end of the day, I feel like people need to prioritize a bit of fun in what they absolutely do. Right? That is just how it is. Of course, I can make this channel a news channel and stuff like that and just be on it with the news, but that's so damn boring to me. It is so damn boring to me to stay stuck in one piece of content for so long and never really dive into other things that is of interest, right? And that's something I really hope that, if the day comes where I get to actually have this channel to be growing in a place where I would like it to be, if I actually have the money to look around, see what life actually has, because there's a lot of things I still don't know. When it comes down to it, I would like to have fun with it. I would like to see what actually is available out there for the funsies and all that sort of stuff. That's what I want to dedicate a time to the channel, to be serious, to knowledge, having knowledge about certain stuff, but also at the same time having that fun. Realize that content creation is somewhat of a game in a way, right? That you don't have to necessarily treat it so damn seriously. If you want to sound like a crackhead, you can sound like a crackhead, and ain't nobody gonna pay too much attention to you because you're just having fun sounding like a crackhead half the damn time, and that's perfectly fine, right? But most people don't necessarily look at it that way. There's a lot of people that look at it way for a business and growing their funds and their, fortune and stuff like that, right? And I think that's great. I think that's perfectly fine, but I don't think people realize how much they're damaging themselves as a person by not having the fun element added to what the hell they're doing. Lots of people are very much worried about getting canceled and people getting shut down because of what the masses say, but ultimately, if it's not anything really all that crazy and it's just internet people complaining, then why the hell do you care for the most part? You should just do what you want to do, right? As long as it's in grounds of things that is obviously illegal and things that are fine, do what the hell you want to do. Because half the damn time when I see people that are on these top levels, ain't no way they feel like real people, right? Ain't no way they display actual emotions of what an actual person would feel like in any given situation, especially with these dramas or things that happen, right? I remember there was a clip going around where Senna kissed this one dude's woman, girlfriend, wife, chick, person, whatever the hell, and essentially I'm just alright, realistically, because this is California, they will let that shit slide, because I guess that's just how Californians roll. I guess they just let anything happen. They like cuckery nature of stuff for some reason. Maybe not all Californians, but a lot of them probably do, and that's just how it is. But any normal ass person that sees another woman kissing a woman, essentially, I think two reactions are gonna happen. One, they're gonna break off with that person, or two, they're gonna act like Pops from Regular Show in that one meme where he have confronted them black people and just be like, now you listen here, Nick. That's gonna be the damn case, because I know damn well, I don't care how fine Senna is, when it comes down to it, if somebody came through and kissed my woman on the actual mouth and then be like, what, it was just a joke, I'm nah, listen here, you damn bitch, please do not try that shit. Do not try that shit with me. Do not try that shit from anybody in the South. We got hillbillies out here. We got rednecks. We have shotguns. Do not play. let me calm down, because I don't know about that life. I don't know nothing about that life. That's white. That's a lot of white people that we got down here. But you get the damn point, though. It's not even that hard down here, unless you go to Mississippi, which, yeah, you might not want to be black in Mississippi. Let's just be honest. But when it comes down to it, though, essentially, there is a lot of weird shit that just goes on in these spaces where it's just no one acts like that. No one would be like that normally, right? Just let shit just happen and then just be oh, I guess we'll just say this for the cala when I have to expose you for later, which goes into the second thing. Exposing people. If you really have a hatred for somebody and you don't like somebody, bitch, there is police in court systems, in the justice system, as shitty as it can be at times, but they exist there for a reason. If Emiru had a problem with misgift, why did you not take this shit to court? Why did you not take this shit to court at all? Like, yes, you could very much say, oh, he's gonna threaten me and beat me up and all that sort of stuff. Woman, you are by far, I'll just be real, like one of the more bigger streamers that is like out there. And to keep it very much a stack, you don't need to be worried about shit. You could hire bodyguards, you could hire so many different things and so many different people to come through to help your ass out when it comes down to actual threats and danger. You could probably hire a whole ass underground bodyguard like it's the Merryweather people from GTA 5. You could probably have enough money to hire some shit like that to keep you safe. And ultimately, you worried about old boy, buddy boy Mischief? You worried about him coming through to beat your ass or something like that? When you have the money to probably back yourself up to be safe? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Right? And then you show the evidence online to people, be like, oh, I have this evidence, this evidence, this evidence. Cool. Why the hell have you show this shit in court? If he's threatening the hell out of you, this is there's some legal ground that you could possibly have. I ain't no lawyer, but there's some legal ground that you could possibly have when it comes down to taking this mother effer down. If he's actually threatening you or being on bullshit, then take this shit to court. Unless there's both something in the skeleton of the closet that you both have done, or you don't necessarily want to have people to know about, which could be this big ass internet Illuminati circle shit. Again, it's just very much confusing. It's weird, right? Because what this really comes off to me, and as serious as a situation as these kind of things can be at times, what this shit comes off to me is that they're just playing around. This shit feels like some fake ass shit, right? That's what it feels like a lot of the time, because no one takes it seriously. That's what a lot of these exposing sort of things online kind of be, right? There is no reason at all we should have actual people that are legitimate predators that is still online for some reason, that actually just be like, you know, chilling with people, you know, that's, or at least still just around walking freely, you know. And there's no reason at all people like that should be walking around and they just being kind of mad chill, right? There's no reason whatsoever. It just feels a bit strange to me, you know. It just genuinely does. Like, if you don't like somebody and if they do something, you know, that's potentially illegal against you, why the hell do you not take it to that level? Why do you not take it to that level of, hey, I need to be safe, I want to be protected, so let's go ahead and get this guy arrested or whatever, let's get this girl arrested, because girls could be absolute menaces and assholes too. Let's not act like streamer female, you know, I don't want to word this. Let's not act like female streamers are not also on bullshit timing too. Like, there's plenty of them that's on dick constantly, plenty of them that has been on nonsense just in general, and like to screw over people just because. And that's just ultimately how it is. There's plenty of them that exist. You can literally write down any name and it probably is true. That is just how it is on those top ass levels. But yeah, situations like this, when they don't really take the right precaution of how things kind of, you know, needs to go down, it just comes off feeling fake, and it just adds more fuel to the fire of just being like something that don't need to be taken nearly as seriously as anything else. And the crazy thing is, you have these real ass situations that sound real as hell, that sounds very bad, like obviously SA assaults and, you know, all that sort of stuff. You know, all these type of assaults, these victimization of things, the abuse and all this other stuff, the threatening. This is real shit. This is real shit to an average person, that if they were going through this, they're basically going to be calling the police. They'll be calling the police, asking for help, figure out what the hell they should honestly really do about a given situation. And that is just how it is. Ultimately, none of these content creators do that. None of them do that shit. They just basically use this for clout, ruin somebody's career or try to, and then just you know, at some point in time, 5 months later down the line, no one cares. Like, I promise you, by the time 6 months come through, ain't nobody worried about Mizkif. They're gonna go back to, you know, what the hell was going on. Imaru, same thing. When they get done talking, 5 years, or like not 5 years, 5 months down the line, ain't nobody worried about this type of shit. It just is what it is. No grudges to be had. No one cares. It's over with. Move on. That's essentially what we got here. Oh, and before I end this video, I guess there's like one other thing I could kind of point out too, and why I'm so obsessed with, like, you know, saying like a lot of these people feel fake as I don't know what. I think Nux Taku is a very good example of this, right? Like, let's be honest. When Nux was before a million, he was him. He was still him. He was fine. No one really cared. He was doing all the cool stuff. You know, he was all right. Whether you liked him or you didn't like him at the time, it was whatever, right? Like, before, I was there before he hit a million. I think it was like maybe 700,000 in, 800,000 in, one of those areas when I discovered him. And I was like, oh, he's kind of full. He kind of foolish and funny. I kind of like that. About the wham and all that sort of stuff. Like, I was here for it, right? And then when he hit a million, man, the change up was quick. The change up was quick. Like, it was no more the older content. It was a bunch of, yo, do this for some money sort of content, and that's for like a whole year of stuff. It was just like, oh my gosh, this shit's so boring. This shit's so ass. And so we dipped off. Then got into a whole bunch of other stuff and controversies, like the things with Rev Says Desu, the V Shoujo madness and nonsense, trying to be with every single content creator that you could possibly find. Essentially, there is so much shit, and basically it's just a drama farming sort of situation. That's literally all it has been, all it has ever just became when it comes down to it. And now Nux is just kind of doing whatever, essentially. They haven't felt the same since they got that million, and that's just how it is. And it's just like, damn, did a million change you that much, right? And this ain't the first time I felt that way about a creator. There's been other creators I saw that hit the million mark, and then they immediately don't do nearly as much as they should, or they basically fall off in a way where it's like, it's the weirdness and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you hit a million, is that the timeline branch of where shit just gets weird? Is it? Like, what's happening? Why did we all go this way? What happened, right? It just feels weird each and every single time I see it. And it's very rare that you find content creators that don't mix up or don't hit a 180 or change when they get to that damn point, right? It's very rare to find the ones that actually just stick to their guns and be who they are since day damn one. And that's just how it is, right? And now it makes even more sense for me to kind of be like, oh yeah, no wonder why none of the big creators want to actually like help out smaller creators when it comes down to it. Because ultimately, they don't want people to kind of come through, like myself, to be as well, as I feel like as self-aware as I am, and as we are, and call out a lot of this shit that's going on, and mean like, yo, hold up, this shit's kind of weird. What the hell is going on here, right? And then, you know, all that sort of stuff, right? I feel like they will do everything in their power to try to hoe as many smaller creators as possible, so people like us don't get a chance and get a way to say anything, right? That's the reason why, or at least why I felt like anytime I remember the damn TV meta that was on Twitch for a long time, and just Twitch as a platform, when that shit was going on, it was just hoeing small creators. Big creators don't have to worry about shit. They got their millions, they got their money, they'll be perfectly fine. It's the small creators that want to make it. It's the small ones that actually want to have a platform to voice their opinion about whatever the hell they want to do and things like that. It's the small ones that still has to worry about bad things happening, because ultimately the bigger ones, they don't give a damn. If the whole entirety of Twitch go down today, guess what? Who's getting hoed the most? It's the small creators. It's not going to be any of the big ones. They can go to another platform and cause devastation on another one, and then go to another platform and cause devastation on that one. They can do this shit endlessly, while people like myself, people like, you know, obviously that's out there on my same level, they can't necessarily do that. And that's just the crazy and unfortunate sad part about all this shit is. It's just that there is really no way of fighting back unless you get to that point where people at least know your name, and that's just how it is, right? That's just literally how it is. After listing everything I basically said and just trying to really piece all this stuff together, it really kind of makes you look at this shit from like a different perspective now. Like, genuinely, I'm kind of like looking at a lot of people and how they kind of keep themselves relevant by doing drama, whatever. And I'm like, is it even worth it too? Right? Because you basically have to screw over people that has helped you in the past or cared about you at some point in time, and then just say F those guys. And I don't know if I would do that. Now, I'll be honest and say it hasn't, I'll be lying if I say it hasn't crossed my mind, but then it's like, how would you even go about that? And then at the very same time, why would you even go that far? Well, granted, you want to get the content going and the viewership going, I get that, but it's like, why would you even go that damn far? I couldn't even imagine trying to hold people that has done that, really has like helped me out in particular, right? Like, I couldn't even just sit there and do that, because there's been so many good people that's been helpful for me and the channel and stuff like that, and I just wouldn't want to do something like that, right? And ultimately, it's just not my lane to go about that. If I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it being honest. I want to make it try to do the right damn thing, right? That's why I also don't really, go into another tangent, I don't really collaborate with a lot of different people, mainly because I don't know who these people are. I know what they could be, but I don't know what they are exactly. Or at least I don't have a good feel for a lot of people. When I do collaborations, it's because I hope that there is a legitimate friendship that could be formed in some area, in some way or form. You know why I did multiple collaborations with Alice? It's mainly because I like Alice as a person. I think she's an amazing individual, and I will always constantly glaze Alice, because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here right now. So when it comes down to it, I will always give Alice that glaze. But when it comes down to it though, I really don't want to necessarily take these collaborations for granted. I actually want to form a legitimate friendship with the people that I collab with, because I think there's something more there than just make video, leave off, and that's it. Genuinely, that's how I feel, right? So I just don't want to necessarily just take that type of things for granted and just do that type of stuff, right? And that's just how it is. If someone ever were to ask me to collaborate, which no one has ever really reached out to collaborate with me, which, but it's all good. But ultimately, it's just like, I don't want to necessarily take that thing for granted, because ultimately you took the effort to reach out to me, and that's just how it is. So yeah, I just don't want to take that for granted. I think I'll just say this and end it off. We have so many dishonest ass content creators that are just out there. There are so many people that will be easy to throw shade just for a quick buck, just for a quick view. And that's just kind of the situation that we kind of have. We basically have this maybe possible secret ring that is just above all content creators and just all these platforms that work together with these platforms or whatever to develop content to be what it is. And it's not necessarily a great time. And basically, again, all these sort of things that happen to these platforms and with these creators just make it harder for smaller creators to rise up. Again, it's the reason why I am so happy to do things like arts appreciation, to direct that for smaller creators now, because definitely there is a lot of artists that very much has very great ability that don't get the chance to showcase it. And if I can showcase that for them and then really hype them up and show them if I resonate with their work, then hell yeah, I'm gonna give you that time. But ultimately, it is just one area. Unfortunately, it's not anything on the content creator side that can jump into this, right? And there's no one that's big enough to actually want to do something like this, because it's such a killing game. It's such an every man for itself sort of situation, when it doesn't have to be. Literally, if people took a handful of small content creators and just gave them the clout, what they need to do to kind of I guess promote themselves or whatever, that would be fantastic, right? And I know Osmongold recently talked about Mizkif and how he was like, oh, I regret promoting Mizkif. First of all, let's just be real. It's not really all your fault when it comes down to it, right? Yeah, you could definitely say, oh, if he didn't do this, this wouldn't have happened. But ultimately, how the hell are you supposed to know? You ain't supposed to know. You can't possibly know unless it's very obvious effing signs. You don't really know at all, and that's just how it is. So I don't really think there's anything to blame on that sort of thing, that sort of mentality when it comes down to it, right? I don't think there's anything to blame there, because it's still up to the individual whether or not they want to make a good choice or a bad choice, and that's just how it is, right? For me, ultimately, I just want to have fun on this channel. I just want to create content that I want to create, whether it's out of spite, whether it's out of knowledge, whether it's out of funsies, or whether it's out of just being on some crackhead behavior. Doesn't necessarily matter to me. The only thing I just really hope I never go into the tangent of, and again, I will look back at these videos for like, you know, don't do this sort of thing if I ever get the chance to grow and be big. It's just the fact that I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be dishonest, right? I don't want to lie to people, right? I'm okay with a creator, or at least I can understand if a creator maybe tell a lie here and it's not that crazy, or hold secrets. You know, I'm not saying a creator needs to be a perfect human being, but I am saying to be at least decent, right? You should at least be a decent person and understand what people kind of feel or how to go about certain things, right? I do feel like that is something that people definitely need to try to strive to be, because this 180s flip turns, these, you know, kickflip moves, all this other stuff that, you know, these big top creators really are, and they all really just kind of is. It's just a terrible time. It's just a terrible time. And then they be wasting people's time, where there is other smaller creators that very much deservedly so could use their really their influence and their numbers and shift it to them, and they could do a way better job of content creation than any of these top people ever could. Honestly, at this point, if you're gonna be real, if you, outside of like a few people that you might consider really good creators, if you really want to find good content, really like good content that people actually can give a shit about, it's on us. It's very much on us, right? And the only way to keep it going is to not change up. It's to not switch gears of any kind, right? I don't know why it's this thing that just happens for a lot of people that's at the top. I don't get it, but ultimately it is something that we should very much try to avoid. If you are someone that's going to become a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer or a Kick streamer, doesn't necessarily matter. If you start, you know, getting that clout and you start getting that cash or whatever, try your best not to change. I know that's impossible at times, or it feels impossible at times, but just don't necessarily do it, right? I don't understand why people do it, but, and maybe I will understand it if I ever get to that point, but don't do that shit. Just don't. Because ultimately, remember why you started doing content in the first place. Remember the fun shit that you had. Remember the serious shit that you had when it comes down to it. And ultimately, keep remembering what you're doing, who you are as a person. Because I feel like a lot of these people have forgotten who they are, and that's kind of the reason why we have the space is the way it is. But yeah, there's probably other things I could probably talk about when it comes down to this sort of topic too. And if I think of something else, then obviously we can talk about it later. But yeah, I kind of want to just voice all this stuff, because this just has been a annoying path to kind of been seen for years now, that all content is basically boring for the most part, and there is so many fake ass individuals that is in the top levels of content creation that honestly at times don't feel like they deserve to be there. And it's like, how good would it be if someone like myself or any of the smaller creators come through and actually take over and do what needs to be done and actually do better content and work than what any of these people could ever really do? That is just how it is for me, right? That's just how I kind of think at this point. So yeah, that's essentially all I really want to say for this one. Thanks for listening to this long ass 40-minute video, or at least as far as this recording goes. But hopefully you did enjoy still. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also, like the video, hype the video, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Patreon is not included. I don't know why I say Patreon. I'm so used to the old intro, it slips in every now and again. The Kofi is available, and so is the Cash App. Go ahead and look at the description for that. And then also at the very same time, just follow me on the socials, you know, the Twitter, and whenever the hell I decide to open Discord again. I don't know when. I might do it maybe sometime soon, but I'll think about it. But yeah, until then, it's been Boy J, sign off. Have a blessed day.